Hello, and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. This is the show where we discuss how regular investors can find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a deal. And we go over the mindset, tactics, and tools to be a successful real estate investor. Well, we're starting to hear some cool down in the inflation market. Could now be the right time to invest? Lots to discuss on that topic. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. Welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am your host and Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donnie Corum. And once again, this is the show where we discuss how regular investors like you can find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal with a minimum profit of $25,000. You know, a lot of people come to me and they're wondering, is now the right time to invest in real estate? Well, you know, there's this desire of the investor to time the market, to figure out exactly when the right time to get in the market is. The issue is you can't really time the market, can you? I mean, in the end, we don't know when the market's going up or down in real time. So the key really is to just hop in when it makes the most sense for you. However, there are some signs out there that better times are coming in the market based on some of the economic stuff that's taking place. Right out of the gate, there's an article just released the last few days that inflation had slowed down just a little bit. Let's hop in just a little bit here to the NBC News covered this one. The president came in, Trump was like, hey, I'm going to immediately lower inflation, but then all these tariffs came out. It wasn't certain if that was going to be the case at all. We saw the consumer price index go up immediately after the presidency, 2.8%, but slower than the annual rate in January. So what's happening now is based on the interest rates that are out there. And just remember that interest rates impact the supply of money that's out there, right? If money's at a very high interest rate as it is right now, you're obviously going to see a lot of people wanting to put that money in places where it's parked, right? So it's going to reduce the supply of money because interest is very high. When the money supply is low, we have interest rates in the lower rates like we saw in 2020 and 2021, right? You're going to see a bunch of money in the market. And when you put a bunch of money in the market, it's like pumping up a balloon, right? You're pushing it into the marketplace. It inflates the balloon, if you will. That's what we call inflation. Well, inflation went into a crazy state in 20 and 21 because money was so cheap. As you remember, we were looking at interest rates below 3%. And obviously that increased the buying power of the general population, right? And this resulted in a huge amount of inflation in the overall real estate market. Well, they were worried that inflation was going to continue. So the Federal Reserve decided, and it was an intelligent decision in most people's thought, we got to slow this thing down. We saw increases in pricing in Colorado Springs, looking at like 30%, okay, going up from where we started to where we ended. That was obviously unsustainable for the long term. So the only logical solution was to increase the interest rates to prevent house buying from happening at that rate. And obviously inflation affected everything. Cars went up in value. Eggs are now running at $8 for a dozen eggs. It's absolutely insane right now what you have to pay for things, but it was largely based on decreasing interest rates and pumping the economy full of money. That's what they call inflation. Well, that obviously, once you increase the rates, and I can remember back in 2022, this happened about second quarter of 22. We saw the interest rates start to increase. By the end of 2022, they had nearly doubled between that time frame, which was kind of a shock to the system. Needless to say, maybe that shock to the system really halted the real estate market, slowed it down to a crawl, because suddenly if your payment on a property has doubled from one quarter to the next quarter, a lot of people are simply not going to continue to buy properties in that marketplace. That seems kind of obvious, but where are we today? Well, with all this tariff talk and et cetera, what you're proposing is that goods and services are going to cost more, right? If you're going to add a tariff to something, a tariff is a tax. One example of a tariff would be Canadian lumber, right? Adding a tariff to that, they're talking about a 25% tariff added to Canadian lumber. Well, you've increased the cost of building, right, by creating such a tariff. And in doing so, if there's a lack of money supply, you've made goods and services harder to purchase. This is obviously a little scary in the real estate market that's already slowed down a little bit. If you're also going to have tariffs hitting the market in that same occasion, you're putting yourself in a bad spot. So the investors now wondering, rightfully so, with inflation, with house prices going way, way up, and now this potential tariff problem causing a potential increase in the cost of creating housing or cost of goods across the board that we import from other countries, is now the right time to invest? Well, as I started with, the answer is always yes. The question is, where do you want to invest in the real estate market? Whereas in a balanced market, if we know some predictability on where house prices are going to go, then it makes sense to do some investing in both buy and hold investments, right? And then you want to do some fix and flip investments. I generally advise my clients in the foreclosure profit system to buy and flip the first couple of houses that they do, because I want you to get that taste of making $25,000 in profit from the process of finding, figuring, funding, fixing, and flipping a deal. But over time, with rentals not going up in line with interest rates, right? You now can't, when you're going to buy a property to rent out, you're not expecting to make as much because your payment's going to be higher. And the fact that inflation is not allowing for long-term appreciation to be a thing, at least in the Colorado market. Okay, we're studying other markets all across the country. We're looking at expanding the foreclosure profit system into the Arizona market because those markets are definitely more suited right now than the Colorado market to long-term holds. But in this market and in Colorado, you want to be focused right now on fix and flip. You want to get in and get out because the long-term prospect of real estate right now is simply not great. So should you be investing? Yes, as long as you're focused on short term. Now, this is good news because the primary focus of the foreclosure profit system that we offer to help investors to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a deal is mostly about buying the property, flipping it for a 25K profit. For investors who need to tax shelter their income a little bit, or they're looking for that long-term passive income, doing the BRRRR method using foreclosures is equally as valid, but you definitely want to do that in a market where there's a high probability of long-term appreciation. Now, I'm not saying that the Colorado market is not going to appreciate eventually. Every market, real estate, one of the great sayings about real estate is, if you're not happy with the real estate market right now, just wait 20 years. Right? Because we can certainly know that over the long term, all property is going to appreciate. And the foreclosure profit system is not about getting rich quick, but rather understanding that if you take the time to save up your 20% down payments that you're going to need to buy your next rental property, right? You save up that money, you buy one, then you save up, using your own income, your next 20% down payment. Depending on how much money you make in your day job, that process could take 10, 20 years to get into the market and make any stability in long-term real estate. With my system, you can flip properties more often. Okay, so you're making $25,000 returns, and ideally, you're doing that 4 times a year. If you take that income and you apply it towards buying rental properties, you're going to be able to get there much faster. Okay, so the question now is in the timing. If the inflation is now slowing down a little bit, okay, we're seeing that it's a little off of what they expected it to be and hoping that that's going to continue based on the fact that they increased interest rates and they've made it difficult to pump money into the market. Obviously, not as many people are buying houses. 2024 went down in history as the worst real estate market by transaction volume since 1995. We're talking about a 30-year gap since the last time we sold that few houses nationally in the marketplace. This is opportunity, people. Couple that with the fact that there's so many foreclosure filings on the market today. It's a great time to hop in and decide that now is the best time to get into the market and start buying these short-term trades and making your money. So when the market fully bottoms out and inflation is not as poignant of a thing and rates start to settle down a little bit, you will have built the capital via flipping to start buying these rental properties at a discount, remodeling them, and then getting them back on the market to build long-term cash flow. Alternatively, we're going to be looking at other markets where that long-term cash flow is already a good idea. And if you're comfortable landlording from a distance, you may consider buying and flipping and renting these properties in other markets that are already providing the cash flow. So the short answer to is now the right time to invest is absolutely always yes. But it's never been more important than it is right now to focus on getting a great deal in the real estate market. Whereas you could buy a property near retail, with these low interest rates and cash flow that rental, making a couple $100 to $400 or $500 a month because the interest rates were so low. Today, you have got to buy a property significantly below market to make a profit on it on the flip, obviously, but less obviously, you got to buy it significantly below market to have any shot of cash flowing even a little bit in this very volatile market today. All right. We have a shortage of people who can afford housing. There's a shortage of affordable housing right now. And jurisdictions, including Colorado Springs, are forming committees. I applied recently to be on a city-sponsored committee from the Mayor Yemi, asked some people to volunteer this committee to talk about and help the city to develop more affordable housing. I haven't been accepted yet. I'm excited about getting involved and helping out, but it's important that the city understands that this is a huge problem. And anytime there's a problem, there's also an opportunity for investors like you to profit from that problem, right? If there's a shortage of affordable housing and you buy, recreate, and remodel that affordable housing, you're going to solve that problem and profit a great deal from being in the right place at the right time, but also taking action when the time is right to get started in real estate investing. You do not want to be looking for the capital to buy those deals in a year or two when this is a much more conducive rental market. You're going to want to set up a flipping system today, right now, that can produce capital for you to be able to take that capital and invest it into these below market assets when, not if, but when the foreclosure crisis hits the market and there's a significant amount of properties out there that need to be purchased from banks, remodeled, and put back on the market as rentals. You're going to want to have the capital to do that. Guys, investing is all about planning for the future. You can't use an investment strategy that's going to make you rich today, right, by employing it yesterday. You've got to plan several years down the road and how you want your life to look and what you want your portfolio to look like. If you're going to do some smart planning, you're going to want to seriously consider investing in properties today that provide capital throw off to pay down your debt, increase your income, reduce the balance on your home mortgage, etc. So when the market strikes and it's time to start buying things at a discount, you can get substantially wealthy by timing the market in the future, knowing that at some point it's going to come around to a rental market. As it sits today, I would argue that the only strategy I want my clients to employ in the foreclosure profit system that I advise on is to buy the properties, fix them up, and sell them, and then take the profit and invest it anywhere else but real estate for a while. Okay, you don't want to keep it in long-term real estate. You want to go short-term for right now, make some money doing that. An extra $100,000 a year in your investment portfolio is going to make a huge difference in how much money you can make in the future. And then later, or when you expand into different markets, you'll be in a better spot to use that capital to buy properties at a discount because the foreclosure crisis is coming. I love that people are on Facebook going, you're wrong. There's no foreclosures. What are you talking about? We're not seeing it. Guys, pay attention to what's going on right now, okay? The previous administration took great care to keep the housing market improperly inflated, and make it look like things were stable. The reality is things have not been stable for many years, and really ever since the interest rate increase took place, there's a lot of market instability. And you can kind of look at the retail market to really get a feel for that. That's super easy to evaluate if you are or know a real estate agent. If you ask them how the market is right now, indubitably, they're going to tell you it's slower than it's been. Not necessarily that they're struggling. There's some great agents out there who are navigating this market extremely well, right? But a lot of the newbie agents will tell you with certainty that it's a hard time to be a real estate agent, okay? Interest rates are high. There's a decoupling, a commission. It's a difficult time. But the big factor in there is that because housing prices got so high, because of that drive of inflation in those years where interest rates were low. It's very difficult to get buyers to come to the market right now. The design of that was to curb inflation and make it easier for how to reduce the rate that houses were going up in value. Okay. And it worked extremely well. Houses are not increasing in value like they were. However, smart investors are still making money in this market by pivoting, by going to a different strategy. There are some people who come to me and they're just buy and hold investors. They've always bought properties, they've rented them out, they've made a good return on investment given how much housing has gone up in the last couple of years, but they're realizing that the future appreciation is not as good as it's been in the past. You can now look at the hedge funds. BlackRock is selling off most of their inventory right now. So you got a lot of, the big buyers. Open Door is selling off property. Zillow bought a bunch of homes they now don't want, okay? And they're offloading that inventory. So follow what the money's doing. The money is saying that right now, long-term investment in real estate, at least in the Colorado market, is not a good idea. However, short-term investment is doing better than ever. Why? Well, it's quite simple. It's very difficult to sell a property when it needs work in general. The average homeowner does not want to spend a bunch of money on their home and then fix it up. Very few people in the retail market are looking to buy fixer-uppers, right? That being said, there's an opportunity for investors who have an eye for that. They can see the fact, not what the property is, but the potential. But they take those properties, they remodel them, they list them and sell them, and nice houses are still selling. As a matter of fact, with the recent cool down in interest rates just a little bit, we've seen a ton of activity in showing traffic. And of course, we're in springtime now, right? So we're getting a lot of just natural seasonality adjustment into the market, and things are definitely starting to pick up. Do you want to wait until the market's at full steam before you buy your investment deal? Of course you don't. At this point, you want to hop in right now, start with a foreclosure profit system to start doing deals continually. And the best part of this system is that we find the deals for you. So while you're managing your day job and living your life and producing an income elsewhere, my team is locating the best deals in the market on your behalf. We're then analyzing the deals carefully to make sure that they're the right deal for the client. We fund the deal as a hard money broker. I find the capital that you need to actually do the deal. We fix the deal with my project management team, and then we flip the deal while you keep the profit. It's a no-brainer offer for investors who actually want to consistently do real estate investing deals. Now, there are other programs out there, right, that are about talking about doing real estate investment deals or analyzing the market or getting more education about the process. And if that's what you're looking for, then the foreclosure profit system is not for you. But if you're looking at the inflationary condition right now and realizing that if inflation does start to settle down a little bit, that means rates are going to start to settle down a little bit. And this is the best time we've seen in some time to hop into the market and get going. You're always going to have a little bit of fear attached to real estate investing. That is the design of investing, is you got to feel a little bit of risk. And I wish I could tell you that real estate investing is fun or easy and you can just make a bunch of money for doing nothing, but these things are just not true. The reality is this is a tough job, but my team makes it very easy for common investors who are, especially those who are just getting started and don't have the infrastructure or the knowledge to continually do deals, to employ the resources of my team of over 100 years of experience combined in helping you to consistently do deals. Okay, so it's a no-brainer for people who really want to do this, but there are so many people out there who are still in the discussion phase, in the evaluation phase. Do I really want to be a real estate investor? Do you want to manage the stress that comes from doing a deal? The reality is this vehicle is not for everybody, but if you're thinking based on your research, you have a desire that this is something you believe that you want to do, I would love to have a conversation with you. Now that inflation's cooling down, we should have a deep talk about, in this current state of the market, how we can continually get you into doing deals with an average profit of $25,000, looking for 4 deals per year. So that's $100,000 potential income per year, allowing you to do deals and change your financial future by taking significant action today. It's an awesome opportunity. I would love to have you on board. Don't be scared. It's just a matter of getting the right guidance, the right tutelage. And after over 400 deals right here in the Colorado market, there's literally nobody more qualified to help you do deals actively in this market than yours truly, Donnie Cora. Well, guys, that is our show for today. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I am so excited. The weather's heating up. The inflation is cooling down. Interest rates are starting to reduce just a little bit. And we're going to have a wonderful spring and summertime in the real estate market. I'm very confident about that. And I'm certainly hoping that you'll join in with me and make some money in the real estate market by flipping some deals. With that, this is Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. Thanking you so much for tuning in today and reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.